I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, very good. You see how it was kind of flat and monotone? There wasn't a lot of life in it. Her inflections were just usually would fall off the end of them. What we want to do is we want to try to make this a little bit more exciting, if you will. Now, Amanda, what I want you to do is this, okay? I want you to think you're a turn-of-the-century immigrant, okay? You've just left this oppressed country, and you're coming to America for the first time, all right? You've just left all this horrible stuff back there in your old country, all right? And you're coming to America, and you're just so excited about being a part of something great like America. You're walking across this field, right? And you see this flag, all right? And you're going to make up this poem about a flag.
Okay.
It's just like you're going to make it up, all right? But it's going to be the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. So don't make up a totally new poem. Oh. Use the one that's already been made, all right. Okay? But I want you to act like you're making it up for the first time.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You got it? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see what Amanda does with it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, very good. Very good. You see the difference in it? You see how much more alive it was? And what you've got to do to help with your inflection is you've got to be saying the lines like you're saying it for the first time. The Pledge of Allegiance, you said what, probably 1,000 times. I mean, 1,006 times. But you say things, thank you very much, you can return your seat. Good job. You say things a lot. They tend to get very monotone and very kind of boring, right? We said the Pledge of Allegiance 1,006 times. So what we want to do is try to, each time you say something, make it feel like it's the first time of saying it. Another area that new actors tend to have problems is becoming believable on stage. Now, this is kind of more of a difficult technique, but it's so important on stage to look like you are saying the lines for the first time, like we just talked about. One of the worst things that can happen as a play is when somebody says a line that feels forced or unnatural, not real. I once heard it said that good actors don't act, it just happens. And I think that's true. Have you ever been to a place where you've seen an actor and it just seems so natural, whether it be in the movies or on stage or wherever, you just sense that you really believe that character was saying what they're saying? Well, that's one of the point you want to get to. Your experience on stage needs to be real and natural. You don't want to be forced and unreal. You want to strive to make the script believable. Now, there are different ways to make a script believable. Different ones include don't panic, look for new thoughts, use punctuation, find some business to do with your hands, and be in the moment. The first one I want to look at is don't panic. This happens a lot of times with new actors as they're not very comfortable with the stage or with having perform in front of people. Their limit to their performance has been, reciting their favorite lines from a movie in front of their mirror or joking around with their friends, but not in a packed house that are people that are paid to come see you, or you're performing in front of your church or wherever you're at. That makes things a little different, and your nerves kind of kick it up a notch. But don't panic. Stay calm and enjoy the time you have on stage. Some of you may be very familiar with the stage, while others may be new to how the stage feels. I tell my actors all the time that confidence is the key to a great performance. If you don't have confidence, fake it. You'll start to believe yourself. Okay, what are some ways that we can avoid panic situations on stage? Yeah?
Know your lines.
Very good. You've got to know your lines. You can be very familiar with your lines. What else?
Know your part.
Know your part. Know who your character is. It's vital that you feel you know the line so well that it's the character speaking and not you. This requires you to spend numerous hours learning your lines and researching the part of the play. If you're doing a play or a sketch or a scene, research what it's about what your character's name means, about what your relationship is in the play. Now, we'll talk more about characters in our next section called character development. Now, what is another way to avoid panic times on stage?
Relax and be familiar with the stage.
Very good. You have to be familiar with the stage itself and be used to walking on it and knowing what's going on up here. Try not to think about people watching you, but look for ways to focus on your partner and what's happening on stage. Sometimes I get so focused on the moment on stage that I forget there's an audience out there. You'll always have nerves. Nerves are a natural part of being in front of people, but you can control them and use them to your advantage. I had a director who used to tell me all the time, he says, if you're not nervous, there's something wrong with you. If you're nervous, it means you care about it, and that's a good sign. But like I said, use the nerves to your advantage. Use them, control them, and let them give you that extra energy that you need. Here's a simple exercise that will help you be a little more familiar with the stage. When you have a script to work with, start doing the scene in front of a mirror. When you get comfortable with that, get your family together and do it in front of them. Then for your friends, and then finally do it in front of a crowd. This progression helps you do it first in front of people you trust, and it gives you the experience of doing something in front of people. The next idea to become believable on stage is your preparation time. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to be prepared for your role. You may think you have enough talent to float by, but talent won't get you to the top. Hard work and talent will make you successful. A lot of beginning actors just run through their lines without any thought to the new ideas and thoughts that happen at any given moment. Now, in real life, there are times when you jump from thought to thought. Characters on stage do that all the time. Look in your script for places where the character has a thought change. Now, we have a couple monologues, and we need you to break these monologue downs and see where the thought changes are. The first monologue is from The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. Jack is trying to convince Lady Bracknell that her niece's choice for a husband has been lying to everyone about who he really is. He has been pretending to be Jack's brother, and Jack has no brother. So take the speech by Jack, and I want you to break down and put a little mark where the new thought process begins. So go ahead and try it. You should have been able to find several different thought progressions. Each new thought must have its own purpose and motivation. You need to take the time to explore each thought. What is the character trying to say? Why are they saying this at this point in time? What kind of response are they trying to get? What do they want? What is your objective? By processing each and every thought, you can achieve a natural and real delivery of your lines. Another way to help to be more natural is to utilize the punctuation that writers put in scenes. A lot of times we'll forget that a question is a question and that there's a comma there for a reason. Now let's go back and look at the first part of Jack's monologue. But I took all the punctuation out of it and see how much different it is. Go ahead and look at it. There's no way to tell the meaning of what he says. What's part of a question? What's he trying to get? Where do you pause? Is there a moment where he pauses to make a point? Without punctuation, you cannot tell. So use the punctuation as a way to make your performance more natural. Slow down and see what the writer is trying to say. Take your time with it. Don't panic. Let the words come naturally like we talked about before. Everything should feel like you're saying it for the first time. Another way to be more natural, believable, is to find some sort of activity for yourself to do while you're on stage. Something to do with your hands. This is one of the best ways to release all the nervous energy you have on stage. Especially if you have a long speech and you're just you on stage. Let's say you're doing a drama solo and you just feel unnatural on stage. Find an activity, find something to do with your hands while you're doing your speech. This will help the energy to flow to your hands, and you can focus more on what you're saying rather than how you're saying it. Memorize one of the two monologues and do it in front of your group. Find an everyday activity to do while you're doing it. It'll feel hard and maybe unnatural at first, but work through it and you'll know your lines and it'll be a lot easier. Choose one of these monologues, either the ones we've written for you right here or the Jack or Doolittle speech, and memorize that, and then find an activity like folding clothes, peeling potatoes, something that you do every day, and do the speech for your group. Bring real props to help you out. Eric has chosen to do the Doolittle speech from the play Pygmalion by Shaw. Eric's going to do it first time without any props, so we're going to see what happens with his hands.
Don't look at it that way, Governor. What am I, governors both? I ask you, what am I? I'm undeserving poor, that's all. Think about what that means to a man. It means that he's up against middle-class morality all the time.
Okay, good. Now, Eric, what I want you to do is get your activity. I want you to do it again, but doing your activity. See how he seemed real tense and real kind of on edge? What this exercise does is this helps you release that energy into some sort of activity. Okay? So, Eric, do it again.
Don't say that, Governor. Don't look at it that way. What am I, Governors both? I ask you, what am I? I'm just undeserving poor, that's all. Think about what that makes a man. Puts him up against middle-class morality all the time.
Okay, good. You see how much more comfortable he was and how much it looked a lot more natural. It was a lot more believable the second time. Now, sometimes if you're doing a festival or something like that, they won't allow you to use props. And you've got to work and find an activity that you can do without props, but mime or do space work or whatever to fill that in. But you always want to find some sort of activity to do with your hands, or you'll start tensing up, your hands will go in your pockets, you'll lose kind of any body control, okay? So it helps to have an activity that you do. Now let's look at something else. Amanda's going to do a solo piece that she wrote, and at first she's going to use some sort of activity. She's going to use real props. And then we're going to pull the props away from her and have her do space work or have her mime the activity that she's going to do. And this will help you for preparing for any kind of festivals or anything like that, okay? So Amanda, go ahead.
Mom, seriously, you can't call me from all the way across the country to tell me to go to church in the morning. Mom, I'm too busy. No, I have a party to plan for Tuesday, and I have a paper due on Wednesday. I don't have any time. I know, there's always time for God. Hey, listen, I'll go next week. I know I said that last week, but seriously, I'll go next week, I promise. And I said it the week before last, too. Mom, you just don't understand my schedule. Okay, I promise. Okay. All right, love you too. Bye.
Okay, good. Now, Amanda, let's have you do it again, but without any props. All right? And again, try to make it as real and natural and believable as possible. All right?
Same actions.
Same actions. Keep folding clothes. You can use this. Keep folding clothes and on the phone, but make it as real, as natural as possible without the actual props.
Okay.
Okay?
No. Mom, seriously, you can't call me from all the way across the country to tell me to go to church in the morning. I'm in college now. I can't go. I'm too busy. I have a party to plan for Tuesday, and I have a paper due on Wednesday. Mom, I just don't have any time. I know. There's always time for God. Listen, I'll go next week, I promise. I know I said that last week, but I'm so busy. Mom, you don't understand my schedule. Okay. All right, I promise. I'll go next week. All right, love you too. Bye.
Okay, good. You see how it still looked very real and very natural and very believable. That's what you do when you find an activity to do with your hands, is it makes the process look a little bit more natural, a little bit more believable. And you put all these things together, and it makes the scene more believable. Thank you, Amanda. The final help in developing believable scenes is called being in the moment. And this is best described by saying that being in the moment is being totally involved with what's happening at that particular time on stage. You know your part, you know what you want, you know your character, and so you react like the character would react. You have to remember, although you've said these lines 100 times, this is the first time the audience has heard them, and by being in the moment, you keep that illusion real. React as this is the first time you've ever heard that phrase before. Now, the best way to stay in the moment is to not get ahead of yourself in the scene, but listen for what's happening then and react as if this was the first time to experience this conversation. You want to take a step back, react, and listen in the moment. Acting is reacting, not anticipation. So react in the moment and see what's happening on stage, and this will help you to be in the moment. The final aspect we want to discuss is called character development. Now, there are several approaches to developing a character for the stage. The first thing you can do is look in the script. First, look in the script and see what the writer says about the characters. Most authors will give you some idea of what the character is about. They'll even give you a character breakdown of who they are, maybe a short little snippet of what the character is. Write down what the author says about the character. Write down what other people in the script say about the character, and descriptions, the other dialogues that people have about him, the things he says in self-expressional lines, things like that. All the information you get from the author in the play is called your given circumstances, and it cannot be debated or altered by the actor. The rest of the information you can assume and create. A great way to keep track of this is to fill out a character analysis sheet. These sheets can be involved as you want them to be, and there should be an example of one on the video. So please take that out and fill it out as you're developing your character. The second thing you want to look for in developing a character is called emotional recall. After you have a basic idea of what the character is about, then it's good to bring some personal experiences into the character to make it more real. This is called emotional recall. You look into your past and find a connection in your experiences between your own experiences from the past and something that your character is going through. When you have a character to play, think of different experiences in your past and write those down in a journal. I'm a big believer in keeping journals for every role you play. In it should go the notes from rehearsal, your research, and different ideas you learn about the character. A character journal is a great way to get in touch with your character. Write in your journal entries as your character commenting on what you've learned about yourself and what you think about the other characters in the play. Approach it from a first person. This will help you gain better insight into who you are. Maybe as a diary, maybe as a journal, whatever the approach you want to take, but write it in first person how you feel about yourself and other characters. The third way to develop a character is to watch and learn. Another way to develop characters is to watch the people around you. Go to the mall, go to the zoo, go to the amusement park. Go any place where you could people watch. Make mental notes on how people walk or carry themselves, how people dress, the different kind of glasses they wear, or the kind of rings they wear on their fingers, or if they walk with a limp, or whatever you think makes up this character. Write those things down so you can remember them. You can get some great ideas from people around you. I get a lot of my ideas for characters for plays from my friends or the people I have in my life. There's been a lot of times where people, friends of mine, that have come and seen a play, and afterwards have come up to me and go, hey, that's me in there. So what you want to do is steal from your friends. They're pretty funny. They've got characters. Take what they have and their mannerisms and use them on stage. Outside factors are a great asset in helping you get ideas for characters. Now, what we want you to do is we want you to go back to the same contentless scene that we started the video off with. I want you to take all these situations that we talked about, everything from becoming believable, the diction, to character development, to everything that we talked about, and do this scene again. Now, there's 7 different situations for you to try, and I want you to pick one, partner up with somebody, and try the different situations, and rotate in and out. You'll find these on your video.